worked with over 160 roofing contractors and have spoken with over 1,000 of them. I can pretty humbly say that there's going to be very few people who have spoken to more roofers than I have. And in each of these sessions, it's like an hour where we ask them a lot of questions about their business and what they have done and what they worked, what didn't work. So from all those lessons, today I'm going to show you what I would do right now in 2024 if I had to start a roofing company from scratch. The very first thing I would do is get the name right. There's 3 things that are important in the name. One is having a keyword for SEO. Second, you want to have the city in there. And lastly, it needs to be memorable. Let me break it down. Many companies, they start a roofing company. They want to specialize in roofing. That's their main bread and butter, but they don't have it in the name. Right? It's a simple thing. If you're a roofing company, you want to have roofing in the name. If you have that, then the first part is checked off. Number 2, having the city in the name. Now, this is a little bit of an ambiguity depending on where you're located. If you are located, actually your address of the business is located in a big city. What that means is that if you were to just get a good percentage of the people in that city who are searching for roofing to become your customers, you'd do well. So if you're in a massive city like Dallas and you call your roofing company something like Lion Roofing of Dallas, for a lack of better terms, if you're just able to become one of the top companies in Dallas, and since having the name and the city in the name of the company helps so much in Google and SEO nowadays, we make it a high priority. Those would be the 2 main things. And then lastly is memorable. If you were to go into a home, whether they did business or not, would they remember the company? And one of the easiest ways we've found this to do in today's day is just to have animal in the name. Sounds very silly, but if you look at some of the branding companies have done, like Tiger Roofing or there's Red Fox Roofers, these companies people don't forget, and the animal in it allows you to get the second part of this checklist done very well, which is branding. Branding, you could explain that it's all about what we stand for, our product, and everything it does. But for now, branding is just the color scheme. There's few products out there where you use the product and then you literally can't get it out of your head. Like, I literally have bad sleep because those colors are flashing in my eyes. Some examples would be like lime green, that are like bright, like neon green, or orange, that are neon colors. Who would forget like a fox that has a tail that's like neon orange, and they see it everywhere they go. They see it on the billboard, the trucks, the ads that you run on your website when they come out, your t-shirts, everything like that is just, they will associate the fox. Orange Fox is that company. It's very easy to remember. Next is picking retail versus insurance. Most of the time, for companies that are able to scale to a decent level, they get most of their business, 70% or above, in one or the other. They're either a lot of heavy towards retail or they're very heavy towards insurance. If I was doing retail, good market could be like Florida, right? On average, we see pretty good close rates, and the roofs cost higher because they're tile, metal, stuff like that for a lot of their roofs, not just shingle. Right? If I was in insurance, then maybe a good market could be Oklahoma City, right? Average roof is very big. Next is marketing. How do you start getting customers, and especially when you're just starting out? First and foremost, I would say is door knocking. Just 2-3 people to door knock on behalf of you, and however you gotta structure this, it early on teaches the owner how to have a team built that's going to do something that's very hard, meaning the people don't want to do it, and they gotta be able to lead. It's not just, oh, I'm paying you so you do it. A lot of these are by commission structure. So if you're able to do it, it already means you're able to have people and you're learning to be a leader early on in your career. Second one, it would be actually using, once you start getting, let's say, 1 job a week at least, you can start investing some money in actually the lead vendors. Now, there's many out there, the Home Advisor, Angie's of the world. Those are not the ones I want to go into. Although there's no good quality lead vendor, right? They're all kind of shared leads and stuff like that. It's worthwhile to try out some of the not the worst ones, such as Networks and Thumbtack. Now, this is not an endorsement for them. They're like, in the scale of quality, they're like maybe a 2 out of 10, but they're not the absolute worst. They're not as bad as like Home Advisor and Angie, at least. So it's like, you could try them out and see. It teaches what do the lower, like, people who are like, just getting started also charge? Many times these are the people who are in these services, because the bigger companies literally cannot be in those services because they charge premium, which is almost like a requirement to scale. So they're not in those services. So you just starting out lets you kind of compete it out. And although it's a shark eats shark, whatever you want to call it, it's just like, 7 bids per every job, and people a lot of times showing up to the same house you're there. It's really like annoying to deal with. It gets you to quickly be competitive and get your sales systems really calibrated. Basically, you're competing for leads that everybody, like, multiple people are getting. So you have to have really good sales. You have to have really good on time. You have to have really good response times to get all those systems in place. Third thing I would do for marketing is posting on free groups. Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist are two easy ones. Twofold things it helps. One, as the owner who's now self-employed, or if you're a job before, you might have not had this, as much of a pressure to this, but a lot of owners have a hard time changing habits. Meaning they can do one thing one time when you're with them, but if they got to do this daily at a certain time, they really can't do it. See, we expect our employees to do it, but then when it comes to us doing it ourselves, sometimes we can't do a lot of these stuff. So making it a schedule, like, hey, every day, this is part of me running a business. I'm going to spend 10 minutes or 15 minutes. First thing in the morning, I'm going to post on Craigslist. I'm going to post on Facebook Marketplace. Once you have these 3 things down, only then I would say is looking at organic SEO. And that is the fourth and last thing as a beginner stage. Your goal is to become one of the top 3 companies in your local market. You can get between 10 to 20 calls, all the way up to hundreds of calls per month. Bonus one. Here's one thing that you can keep in mind, and that is dialing in your word of mouth. July 2024, roughly in the last 2 years, things are contracting. The economy is not in the best place. And the businesses that we still see that we're working with, which has a relatively easier time getting through this part, they just have a lot of word of mouth. And if you think about what creates word of mouth, it is the product. Dialing that in and being okay, even staying small, right? Putting a cap. Hey, we're gonna do between 3 to 5 jobs a week for a while, maybe a year. And all we do is dial that kind of quality in, every single that part that makes it non-scalable, but it's hard, but make it scalable through operation, through training, through coaching, through leading, and then having accountability in your CRM and dialing it in. It's a lot of hundreds of hours of hard work. But the businesses that do that, what happens is they get a good percentage, not just a little bit. And those businesses, they can weather out storm, because no matter what happens, they get a good chunk of business just from the people they already did business with. So if you have that in, it's going to be a tailwind in your business for the long term. And companies that don't have that in, they're always going to be in a marketing state. It is a more uphill battle compared to dialing it in properly with word of mouth. And you'll also sleep better at night because there's less complaints, less issues, and people love the service you provide, even at scale.